I could see the midwife's face. They pretty much were like, yeah, this is gonna go down like right now.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with Brandon.
Hey, what's up guys?
And baby Lennon. If you watched our birth vlog, then you might be having questions or want to know the full story about what happened. So today we are going to sit down and just talk about the full story in depth and detail, and also answer some questions at the end. So if you want to just skip to the questions, you can, but we're going to tell the full story of my labor and delivery with baby Lennon.
And we're also gonna give you guys a little bit of a background on why we chose to do a home birth, how we went about deciding that was better for us, how we feel about it afterwards.
So to start off, we just want to say welcome to any new subscribers that have subscribed to my channel. Since posting our birth vlog, it got a lot of feedback and stuff, so we just want to say hi. My name is Emma, like I said, and this is my husband Brandon. We just gave birth to our second baby, but our first baby's name is Lucas, and he's 2 years old. Well, he's about to be 2.5. He is at his cousin's house right now, so we could sit down and talk, but he is a lot of fun and very excited to have a new baby sister.
Yeah, so we'll get into it. So with our first kid, Lucas, he was born in September of 2018 at a hospital near us.
Yeah, we had a midwife in the hospital.
Yeah, we had a midwife in the hospital. She had Luca all natural, and she did great, and I think she labored for, what, 12 hours?
Yeah, it was like 13 hours altogether.
12, 13 hours, and then we were in the hospital for 3 days. It just wasn't very calming or comfortable. You know, they constantly want to come in the room and check on the baby and take the baby away to go do tests, and
we were like really overtired and just ready to go home.
And they have a chair literally like this big for the partner to sleep in and stay in.
Yeah, I think the second night was really hard because he just stayed up and cried all night.
Yeah.
He was overstimulated. We didn't get any sleep. Well, Brandon might have got a little bit, but I didn't get any. And of course, all the postpartum hormones, I was crying and just not having a good time.
So after that experience, we decided to start looking into home births because her mom had a few of her kids at home. Her mom had 11 kids.
Yeah.
So
some of them were at home, some of them were in the hospital.
When we took our birthing class for Lucas, we took a class. They teach you a little bit of information about like how to prepare for labor, prepare for the baby. We actually had some guest speakers come in that were doing home births in there as midwives. We were really interested in that. Looking at it after Lucas was born, we're looking back at it and we're like, you know, that's probably a good idea. So we called them up and we had a little meeting with them. After meeting with her and just like discussing the cost factor and like how we could do it at home, I think we realized it would probably be in our best interest to have baby Lennon at home. You know, that way it's peaceful, and especially with COVID going on right now, you can't have a lot of people in the hospital. So it was just nice to have everything we wanted along with the peace of mind and the comfortability of being in our own house.
That pretty much sums it up. So I guess we'll start with the labor story. I was 38 weeks exactly. The day before I turned 38 weeks, I had lost my mucus plug, and if you know what that is, it's basically just some of the glue that holds your cervix together, and it looks like mucus. And I actually lost it when I was pregnant with Luca 24 hours before I had him. So I lost it with Lennon the day before I turned 38 weeks, and I was like, maybe she's coming soon, I don't know. So the next day I went on a long walk. I went to my midwife's appointment, and they said, you know, just drink lots of water and get lots of rest, because we don't know if this could mean that she's coming or it could mean that she's still has more time. But
and that was kind of funny because I usually go to her midwife appointments towards the end. To me and Emma, it seemed like, okay, you know, her mucus plug came out and we're like, this thing is really gonna happen soon. But to her midwives, I guess they've been doing this for a long time. They kind of just like let it roll over their shoulders a little bit. Not in a bad way. It's just they made it seem like, okay, you know, it's still a little early. We still have at least another like week or two.
Yeah, because with labor you never really know. It could have gone differently. So that night I went home, and of course I couldn't rest. I was doing all the cleaning, all the organizing, laundry, cooking dinner. I just kept moving. I didn't sit down once. I was in the bathroom in and out all night, as they say, emptying your system. I was going number 2 all night long, and that happened the same thing with Luca when I was in labor with Luca. So I was like, I wonder if this could mean that labor is coming. So that night we stayed up pretty late. At 9:30 I got really hungry and heated up some leftovers, sat on the couch and ate, and then I went to the kitchen to put my dishes in the sink, and my water just broke. It wasn't a whole lot. It just it was enough to trickle down my legs and leak through my thick sweatpants. And I yelled to Brendan and I was like, I think my water just broke. And he came in and was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, unless I'm peeing myself. So. But
it's funny because the first thing I said was, oh, I guess I'm not going to work tomorrow.
I was like, yeah, probably not. So I immediately texted my midwife. So I was like, hey, I don't know what to say. I was like, hey, my water broke. And she's like, okay, give me a call. So I called her. Brandon called my mom. And my midwife just said, have your contractions started? You know, what color was the water? How much was it? And like the normal questions. And I told her. She said, because your contractions haven't started yet, you should lay down and get some rest, drink lots of water. And if nothing has happened so my water broke at 9:30. She said if nothing happens by 6 a.m. then there's stuff that they can recommend for me to do to help things progress. So I was like, okay. Going to bed kind of clueless, like I didn't know what was going to happen. I was having inconsistent Braxton Hicks contractions all day that day, and they were still happening. So we went and put Luca to bed, and I put him to bed in my bed because we still co-sleep with him. And I tried to lay down, but I couldn't. I think I laid in bed for like an hour, and within that hour the contractions had started. So I texted my midwife and I told her they were about 7 to 10 minutes apart, and she just said, okay, let me know when they get more intense or stronger. So I got up, I came in the living room, and I told Brandon I couldn't sleep. He's like, okay, and he went to bed.
It's funny, you can see that point in the birth vlog, because I had fallen asleep on the couch watching hockey, and Emma woke me up, and like I said, I kind of thought we had a lot more time in between when her water broke and when baby Lennon was going to be born. So she woke me up, and I kind of looked kind of rough. You could see that. we thought that was pretty funny. My hair was all crazy. Yeah. I was like half asleep, but I thought we still had some more time, so I went down and laid with Luca in the bedroom, and I think another 45 minutes, hour went by, and I think that's when your water
broke a second time.
Yeah, you said in your video how you had to change your clothes again because your water broke. Yeah, I remember having to clean it up off the floor right there.
Yeah, so as he went back to bed, I was just pacing around the house with my phone, timing my contractions on the little app, and they got really intense really fast. So I knew that it was going to happen fast because of how fast things were progressing. So there was a second that I sat on the couch for in between contractions, and I stood back up, and a big gush just came out of me, and my water broke a second time, this time a lot more. So I yelled at Brandon from the room, and he's like, okay, I'll get up in a few minutes. But I was like kind of freaking out, so I called my mom, and I was like, you guys need to come over right now because I'm standing in a puddle of water and Brandon's sleeping.
That makes me sound pretty bad. Yeah, but once she told me she called her mom and sister, and that the midwives were thinking about going ahead and come over, that's when I knew things were going to go a lot faster than I had thought they would. So I got up and I started to make sure, because like I said, we had our birth kit, but nothing was staged. So yeah, so I started to stage the birth kit. One of them being we had a big tub that we were going to use in the living room right here. So I got air in that, and I got the hose ready. So once I got all that set up, her mom and her sister got here.
Yeah, so my mom and my sister got here, and the contractions started to get 2 to 3 minutes apart, lasting 60 seconds. And my midwives had texted me and said, let us know when you want us to come over. It's going to take about an hour, 30 minutes for them to get ready, 30 minutes for them to drive here. So I never texted them back because I was like, I don't know what could happen. So I think they kind of had a feel for where I was at. So she texted me again and said, you know, we're just going to come over because we want to check on you and check on the baby. They came over about an hour after my mom got here.
This is probably like 1 o'clock?
Or like 1:30 probably. So when they got here, things were still really intense. I was in and out of the bathroom a lot. They sat me down and they checked my blood pressure. They said it was a little high, which was a little concerning. They said they didn't like where it was at, but they checked the baby's heart rate and they said that was good. And then they started getting everything set up. They set up all their supplies in my bedroom. We moved Luca to his room. He didn't even wake up. He stayed asleep most of the whole thing.
He did really well.
And then I just labored around the house. I like walked back and forth. I like to lean against the wall and sway back and forth. That's just how I do it. And I am a pretty calm person, so I wasn't that loud. I kind of just like breathed and tried to focus, because once you lose focus during those contractions, that's when you start to freak out.
Another thing that Emma liked to do that helped her is she would hum as well. Like not a tune or anything, but just like a
Very, very low is what
very, very
the midwives
low,
like to hear. So yeah, I would do a humming and like really low moaning. But I also remember feeling really, really emotional, like I could cry at any second, but I tried to not do that because I didn't want to lose control or lose focus, but I felt like I was gonna cry at any second. And then there was one time in transition where I felt very, very nauseous, so I was having a contraction and I just yelled, "I feel nauseous," and they went and grabbed a bowl. So I felt really, really nauseous, and if you know me, I absolutely hate throwing up. I try to avoid it at all costs. But they brought me a bowl and it passed. I didn't throw up, and then the next contraction that came, I felt it again. They brought the bowl back and I threw up probably about like 7 times over and over again. And it was awful. So after that all happened, they were setting up, my bed, and I felt like I had to use the bathroom. So I felt like I had to poop. So I told them that, and they're like, okay, go try. So I went in there and tried, and I guess I got really, really loud when I was in there.
Yeah, you did. You were in there probably at least 25 minutes.
Yeah, because nothing was happening.
Yeah, the midwives were kind of at the final stages of setting up all their equipment. While they're at the final stages of getting everything ready, everybody's kind of like, oh crap, Emma's been in the bathroom for like 25 minutes. So that's when we start hearing her get a little bit louder, and I could see the midwife's face. They pretty much were like, yeah, this is gonna go down like right now.
So they opened the door and they said, we gotta move you to the bed. And they came in and they pulled my pants off me and they brought me to the bedroom. By this time I was in a lot of pain. I just felt like so much pressure. I felt like I needed to go to the bathroom. That's what it felt like, but apparently that was just the baby about to come out. I was ready to push. The midwives never checked me the whole entire labor experience. I never said that, but they never had checked for my dilation. They just don't
really
do that.
Need to do that.
Yeah, so, but I felt all the pressure to push. They laid me down in the bed. As you can see in the video, she tried to ask if I wanted to get in a different position. She asked if I wanted to lay on my side or get on my hands and knees. I tried getting on my hands and knees with the ball, and it just was not comfortable. So I just laid back down on my back, and that's what just felt comfortable for me in the moment. I just didn't have a lot of energy. I felt very weak, like I couldn't hold myself up. That is when I started pushing, and of course, if you've ever had natural labor, you know that when you start pushing, the contractions slow down a lot, and it feels a lot better just to push. So I guess in that point in the video, I looked like I was really calm, but I wasn't. I was calmer than I was before, but it was very, very intense. When I had Luca, I pushed for a full hour, and in my head at this moment, I knew I didn't want to push for a full hour, so I was using all my might and all my strength to push as hard as I could with her. And it worked because she ended up coming in 13 minutes. I think my mom said I pushed 5 or 6 times, and she was here.
And yeah, we've been seeing you guys comment about how well our midwives were and how easy spoken they were, and it just made the environment like really peaceful for everybody, and that was actually really nice. Like the midwife that actually gave birth, she spoke like at a really low tone, you know what I mean? She was easy to understand. She wasn't very demanding. She encouraged her to push at the right times, and then she was even trying to get Emma to reach down and touch the baby head. And I guess that's just a way to reassure yourself that like, look, this is like
the progress you're making.
Yeah, you're making progress. You're not, the pain's not for nothing. The pushing experience, like we said earlier, it was only 13 minutes long, so it went by really fast for Emma and I.
It definitely felt really fast when it all happened. And like you said, the midwives were so awesome. We were so grateful for such a good team. I didn't mention it, but during my labor and the contractions and everything, the midwife came up to me and was calming me down, and she touched me, and because I don't like to be touched when I'm laboring, but she touched me and it felt like okay, like she just knew the right words to say and the right things to do to help calm me down, and she calmed me down a lot during the contractions.
And yeah, so Lennon Mays was born at 3:31. One of the best part about the home birth was after she was born, they placed her on Emma's chest, skin to skin. They left, I think it was about 10 minutes, because they knew the placenta was coming afterwards. But it's really nice because they gave us about 10 to 15 minutes like right after she came out, and it was just me, Emma, and the baby. They came back in and they checked up on Emma, and they decided it was time for her to push the placenta out. So Emma got the placenta out.
So what our midwives like to do is a delayed cord clamping, so that basically leaves the placenta attached for a longer period of time than they do in the hospitals. I think in the hospital they cut it right away.
Yeah.
But so they just kind of wrapped it up and put it on my side. And they left us alone for, they said, an hour and 45 minutes after she was born.
They kind of walked in and checked on us every 15 minutes to make sure, every 15, 20 to make sure everything was okay. But that was just, kind of poking their head around the corner. So about an hour and 45 minutes after she was born was just me, mom, and baby. So
yeah, and you were feeding me and
so I had made
juice.
Emma a plate. I think we had some crackers, some pepper jack cheese, and some oranges, and a big cup of ice cold orange juice.
Yeah, they wanted me to get like my blood sugar levels up. And of course at this time I was like shaking uncontrollably, like right after she came out, my legs, everything was shaking. So I was also trying to get her to nurse, so I was having those awful after birth nursing contractions. But yeah, it was nice to be left alone for that long a time just to bond with the baby. So after the 2 hours went by, they came back and Brandon cut the cord. Right after that, Brandon got to do some skin to skin with Lennon, and I got to use the bathroom, and they brought me a hot meal that my mom made in the kitchen for me.
Yes.
So the midwives then did the little newborn exam on her, and they brought all their supplies out for that, and I think I show that in the end of the vlog. And they check her weight, and she was 7 pounds 3 ounces. She was 20 inches long, and they said she looked perfectly healthy. And I think the midwives left about an hour or two after they cut the cord. My sister Ariel took Luca home with her so he could rest, because he of course woke up right before I started pushing.
Yeah.
We forgot to say that. But he was really good. So that is pretty much our home birth experience. We are now going to pull up some questions. I think I asked on the vlog for any questions you guys have, and then I also asked on Instagram, so we're going to answer all of those questions now.
Alright, so one of the questions we got on our video was, how do you feel becoming a mom of 2? Is it different? Do you even feel a difference yet?
I don't think I really feel a difference yet. I think it's really awesome that Brandon has paternity leave. He's got like 12 weeks of paid paternity leave, so we're really spoiled that he's been able to focus on Luca and I've been able to focus on Lennon. I don't know what's going to happen when he goes back to work. Luca has not been like bad or jealous or anything that we've noticed.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, every now and then we can tell he's getting a little jealous, like when we give her extra attention. But he hasn't acted out any differently than he has before. And he seems to really love his little sister. He gives her kisses all the time.
Like Emma said, Luca has been getting some kind of signs of jealousy, but I've made sure to spend a lot of extra time playing with him, wrestling with him.
Yeah. And
we make sure he gets time snuggled up with mama. He's been doing good, and as a family I think we are getting used to having a second baby. We have another question that says, was your last birth also from home? If not, what's the difference between the experiences?
Okay. Yeah, we kind of touched on this earlier, but with Luca we had a hospital birth. It was unmedicated, but like I said, we felt so much more comfortable with the home birth than a hospital birth. We got privacy, we got to relax, have our family there. It just felt all around more comfortable.
Yeah. What was the scariest thing about doing the home birth versus the hospital birth?
Just the thought of something could go wrong and we could be sent to the hospital. I had a strong feeling that nothing would go wrong, and I think you did too, but I think towards the end I kind of just was a little bit worried. Yeah,
the whole time you don't really think about it until it gets really close to the birth date, and you're like, wow, we're really about to have a baby in our like super small house. And we had a friend who had scheduled a home birth, and she had to end up going to the hospital. So, that was kind of our biggest fear overall. But we were, like I said, we were pretty confident about it. We felt like we had every measure covered, so, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I was scared about was because I have done natural labor before, I knew how painful and hard it was, and I think I was getting a little bit scared about having to do it again. I think I was just worried it would be worse.
So another question we had was first thoughts when you first saw baby Lennon.
I think I was just surprised that she had dark hair, and I think I had said that in the video. And then her face just looked completely different than Luca's, and I thought it was gonna be Luca's twin. Also, I was like, is it a girl? Can you check? Because the whole pregnancy, I was like, what if it is not a girl? What if she's born and it's actually a boy? Like, I was just like still in shock that I was having a baby girl. So those were my thoughts.
And for me, is I'm not really good at like with reactions, like emotional reactions to things. It kind of took me a while to process it, you know. It was kind of really surreal for me to see her. I just felt like a real subtle like calming inside, you know, like a peace of mind, peace of heart. But I was definitely in shock, you know. It kind of took me a few minutes to really warm up to like, hey, our baby is here.
Yeah.
We have another question that says, fears. What are your fears going into it, and how you overcame them?
Well, I think we kind of talked about this. Like, I feared that we might have to be transferred to the hospital, especially when my midwives had told me that my blood pressure was a little high and they were worried about it. That kind of freaked me out, because I'm like, well, what would happen if it was like stayed high like that? And I don't know, I was kind of worried. I was just worried about giving birth again. It's very crazy, intense.
All right, so another question is, was it more or less peaceful than a hospital birth?
Definitely more peaceful
like
than a
100
hospital
times more
birth.
peaceful. I highly would recommend, if you find a midwife that you can just feel good about,
Comfortable with.
Personal with, you know, I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And overall, it was more peaceful because it was our second baby, and then 100 times more peaceful because we had it at home. What did aftercare for you and the baby look like without a doctor present?
So that's a really good question. So when the midwives come to prepare us, like they could do a home visit around like 35, 36 weeks, and they brought a little pamphlet with all the instructions about aftercare that whoever's looking after me after the baby's born to read up on it. No, so Brandon was obviously the one who took care of me after birth, and so the midwives prepped him before they left on what all they needed to do, like what kind of medication to give me, how often to give it to me. They let him know that they didn't want me getting up and going to the bathroom alone for the first 24 hours. Before the midwives left, they made sure we were all good and we knew what to do if something were to happen, and they asked of me to take temperatures of me and the baby every few hours, and they also taught me how to feel my stomach. Every time I got up out of the bed, they made me press in, I think right below my belly button. They told me to feel what to feel for in my belly to make sure everything was healing properly.
And as for aftercare for the baby, they said they cleaned up the baby, they checked her ears, they checked inside her gums, you can see in the video, they checked her pulse, they checked her temperature, they checked her weight. So they do a lot of the things that the nurse does in the hospital.
Yeah, and of course we remained in contact with the midwives after they left. They kept texting me, and they let me know to call them if we had any concerns or anything. And they came back for a 24-hour visit the next day to check on me and the baby again. They let me know if I needed any extra appointments or if they needed to come by any extra times, they would. They came back a week after she was born, and they're coming back this next week for a 2-week visit. And so the next visit will be my 6-week postpartum visit with them, which we'll go to their office for that one. So they're really awesome. They still check in on me. Another thing they recommended was 2 to 3 weeks of bed rest. So I think that's gonna conclude this video. If you guys want to know more about my postpartum journey or how it is dealing with 2 kids, the transition and all that, any kind of video requests you guys have, you can leave them below. Of course, we want to show you baby Lennon before the video ends because she is the star of the show. There's the sweet baby. She is 11 days old today. We had a newborn shoot. We've just been loving the cuddles and everything. She's been such a good sleeper and eater. We have no complaints.
And so thanks for watching our video, guys, and thanks for being interested and having questions. We're very happy to answer them. So just make sure you like the video and subscribe if you want to see the life of a family of 4 with a newborn baby and a crazy toddler. And,
thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Bye.